Radhe Radhe. Welcome to Krishna Bhakti Ras 16. Today's story is about Ishwar Das, who was a devout devotee of Dwarkadish. Of course, Dwarkadish is also Krishna. Ishwar Das loved listening to the Kathas of Dwarkadish, and he was always absorbed in his chintan. He was married, he had children, but he was not anymore able to work for the maintenance of his family, and he was always absorbed in the chintan of Krishna. Dwarkadish too was pulled by his love. He was attracted by him. And daily he would come to Ishwar Das in baby Krishna form and sit on the lap of Ishwar Das just to listen to his own kathas. This is how powerful Krishna Katha is. And daily this baby Krishna form would ask Ishwar Das, "Do you want a boon?" And daily Ishwar Das would say, no. He would politely decline. This went on for some time. And the day finally came when Ishwar Das was a bit impatient. And he told Dwarkadish, he said, "Why do you keep asking me if I want a boon, when I have told you time and time again that I don't want a boon?" Krishna looked hurt. And he said, "But I really want to give you a boon." And Ishwar Das said, "Okay, if you really want to give me a boon, then give me the boon that you will never ever ask me again for a boon." Krishna softened. He smiled and said, "So be it." But then he asked him, "Why don't you want a boon?" And Ishwar Das said, "If I asked you a boon and you gave it, would you still come to me every day?" And Dwarkadish said no. So Ishwar Das said, "This is why I don't want a boon. It is you and only you that I want." At another time, Dwarkadish wanted to test Ishwar Das. And since Ishwar Das was not working or earning anymore, the day finally came when there was no food in his house. And his children were crying. They were hungry. And this was disturbing Ishwar Das, because he could not do his chintan anymore. So he told his wife to quieten the children. And the wife said, "But what can I do? They are hungry." So Ishwar Das told her, "Get a pot, fill it with water, and keep it on the fire. And when the water is boiling and the cover on the pot is shaking, just tell the children that food is being cooked." She obediently did that. And then Ishwar Das told his family, "Now while the food is cooking, come, let us all sit down together and sing the holy name." And so they all sat down there together, including the hungry children. Remember, this was no ordinary family. Ishwar Das was a great devotee So his wife and children had their share of devotion too. So they closed their eyes and they were singing kirtan and chanting. And while they were doing that, Dwarkadish himself came there. Do you think the Lord could see this family going hungry? He came there, he brought with him the ingredients for making a delicious khichdi, and he proceeded to cook it. And they were not even aware of his presence. And when the khichdi was ready, he asked them to open their eyes so he could serve them. And they were all surprised when they opened their eyes and saw him. And the Lord lovingly gave each one a patal, made of leaves on which they eat. He gave a patal to each one and served them khichdi. The children were very happy. But Ishwardas refused to eat. He wanted to serve his Lord first. So they kept telling each other to eat first. And finally they compromised and they sat together and shared from the same patal, eating out of the same patal. Is there any limit to the mercy of the Lord? Is there any limit to the mercy of Krishna? The difficulty is in completely surrendering to Him. But once we do that, He completely takes over us and all our needs. Do you believe these stories? Some say that seeing is believing. But the reality is that believing is seeing. Because if we don't believe, how will we see? This is the Lord who has manifested the entire universe and all of us. He can appear anywhere and any time that He wants. Who is to stop Him? And He often does that. He often appears in front of selected devotees, those who are really close to Him. Why? Because He hankers to be with His devotees. He hankers to be with His bhaktas. So, the first step in bhakti is to believe, to have faith, and to believe with all our heart. Thank you for listening. Shri Shri Dwarkadish Ki Jai. Jai 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 Sri Radhe Shyam.